Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapot, together with the Minister for Communications, is calling for the age limit for enlistment into the Ghana Armed Forces to be extended to 35 years. They argue that raising the limit would open up opportunities for more qualified Guineans, particularly those with valuable life experience and a strong desire to serve, ultimately strengthening the forces. But not everyone supports the idea. One of their colleagues, Reverend Ntim Fordjour, who serves as ranking member on Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, has publicly opposed the proposal. He joins us now on the line to extend this conversation further. Thanks for joining us, Reverend Fordjour.
Thank you very much,
Reverend, let's start from here. Is your opposition to this proposal based on principle, or do you believe that it's being pushed by political motives from your colleagues?
Yeah, I don't know any principle, any well-intentioned principle they base these calls on. They indicated in their tweets that they have got calls from their party foot soldiers in their constituency to increase the age limit to 35. That's just the basis. It is an Honorable Dafiamapot and Honorable Sam George by now must know that their calls were populist, misguided, misconceived, and very dangerous for our security as a nation. What I want to point out also is the fact that this is a very needless call. There's any call that any well-meaning member of government would want to push in support of improving our defense and our security will be, number one, for the immediate appointment of a substantive defense minister. No serious country would have their minister for defense position vacant for over a month. No serious country will do that. So before they will talk about any other reforms, the first thing they should call on their president to do is to appoint a defense minister. Number two, the second call that is important for them to embark on is rather, if it's well-intentioned, is for their government to make adequate releases, budgetary releases to the Ghana Armed Forces. As we speak, they don't have adequate releases. Even budgetary allocations that were approved are lacking in arrears. They are suffocating. The third call they must make is for their government to retool them and give them funds that will be able to give them the critical logistical needs that they need to be able to have the kind of might as a formidable, armed forces that they are and they ought to continue to be. These are the calls that they must make. In any case, they are going to recruit only 4,000 people. Yeah. The advertisement that was done by Ghana Armed Forces is targeted at recruiting only 4,000 people in a country which has a median age of 21.3. Are they telling me that if you want to reserve all the 4,000 slots for NDC party apparatchiks, they can't find within their constituencies 4,000 youth that are qualified and eligible between the ages of 20 and 30? Must we elevate the minimum qualifications to 35 for non-straight men? Very dangerous.
But the National Youth Policy defines youth as persons up to the age of 35.
No, those are unrelated. See, the call they are making is uninformed. If you quote the National Youth Policy, how does that relate to national security strategy? How does that, the national security strategy we have in the country, where does it say that your national youth policy or national youth age limit is what must be referenced when you're looking at building a formidable army? There is no country which military wants to be aged. Nobody deserves an aged military. You want a youthful military. Speak to any seasoned military officer. Speak to any seasoned security expert around the world, and they will tell you that your battalion, about 85% of your battalion, will have to be kept within the ages of 20 to 30.
But Honorable, one would argue that Ghanaians in their early 30s are still physically fit and eager to serve. So why not give them the chance to do so?
No, you don't get the point, and you don't have to allow them to use politics to mislead the public, to be able to infiltrate the Ghana Armed Forces with disqualified party apparatchiks, all in the name of politics. That is what Liberia did when President Tobet was president. And when he was advised, and he ignored advice, all because he wanted to please and play gallery to party foot soldiers, he ignored best practice and just opened the way for much older people. They were all recruited, both qualified and unqualified. What we saw was a destabilized country which is still struggling to find its feet. It is dangerous. Now, let me tell you the practice. When you have a medical doctor or an architect or a very skilled IT or engineer and other such similar skills, in Ghana as we speak, they are enlisted even between 30 and 35. Already, it's not, so nobody should mislead the public that in Ghana nobody is enlisted around the age of 35. That's a big lie. They are not aware. They should read. They should take their time and read. But when it comes to other categories and other ranks, even in their own advert, which was flown a few weeks ago, the Ghana Armed Forces did a meticulous job and categorized them in various subsections. When you read the section F of their own military advertisement, the age limit there is 30. The age limit there, is 30. So where from this propaganda that Ghana is only recruiting up to 24 and that you have to extend it to 35, otherwise you are not getting the talent to get in, and that youth policy. These are very, 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 very ignorant arguments they are making. I am telling you for a fact that when you talk about the non-tradesmen, they are the frontline forces. They are not like IT specialists or medical doctors or bandsmen or motor riders or equipment operators. They are the frontline. They are your fighting force. You need to keep them young. You need to keep them agile. And the kind of training they go through for the initial 5 to 10 years of their recruitment, if you are 35 and above, you can't survive it. And the structure is like that. Every age group has their place. And so when you want to recruit around 24, 25, 27, and 30, by the time they've received about 15 years of training and they are within their 45 to 50, they are already in senior roles, close to their retirement. And so you would have got the best out of them.
Right.
And it is so misguided to say that because you want to please, party foot soldiers, you have to tamper with the creditable requirement Ghana Forces have put in place. In any case, if they had engaged the high rank of the Ghana Armed Forces, they would have been advised that they are going on a dangerous route, which must not be encouraged. Only 4,000 people, 4,000 in just about 10 constituencies. If you are looking for people within 20 to 30, you will get more than that. You will get more than that. So, one, it is dangerous to want to suggest that slots within Ghana Armed Forces is a sole bona fide of ruling government party apparatus. And number two, to even suggest that in addition to it being reserved for party apparatus, the standards must be lowered for aged, overage recruits is so dangerous. So they should focus on the important things that will support the Ghana Armed Forces, i.e., appointing a defense minister now, and then releasing budgetary allocations to them and retooling them to be a formidable force. And if they even need, Ghana Armed Forces even needs about 12,000 people now, not beyond 4,000.
Right.
But because they are not releasing the kind of resources to them, they can't even employ more than that, because where are they going to sleep? So they should rather elevate to resourcing them more, so they will have the financial clearance and enough facilities in the barracks to even recruit 12,000.
Right.
If you resource them to recruit more, then if you want to even reserve everything for your NDG apparatus, you can have more. So they should be guided in the and the last thing I want to say before I end is that if this is not President Mahama, Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, if this very dangerous position espoused by a cabinet minister and a parliamentary leader is not his position, he must issue a disclaimer immediately. He must issue a disclaimer. Otherwise, if he is behind it and is sending them to test the waters, then he must know that Ghana will resist every attempt by the NDC ruling government to infiltrate and destroy our armed forces with unqualified overage party foot soldiers.
Reverend John Ntim Fordjour, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.